À perdre la raison. Our children. This is a phenomenal motion picture with a couple of actors that is in many ways nec plus ultra. You can find none better. Couple of actors and individual artists. One of them is Tahar Rahim as Munir in the movie. Tahar Rahim is the actor that has had the leading role in the Mauritanian. He is the Mauritanian Mohamedou in recently a Kane, the Mauritanian, for which Jodie Foster has won a Golden Globe for her performance in a supporting role, Best Actress in a supporting role. As the defendant of the detainee in one of the American camps, the one in Guantanamo. Tahar Rahim had been glorious, splendid before this in a Prophet, where he played with Niels Aristotle, and they reunite here in this phenomenal film. Niels Aristotle is Andre, and again Tahar Rahim is Munir, and they're joined by another formidable actress to finish this extraordinary triangle, sort of a menage a trois, indeed a menage a trois, not for all intents and purposes, but a menage a trois. Amélie Duquesne, Muriel. And what a tragic catastrophic ending this has. I'm thinking of ending things. To quote the name of the most recent Charlie Kaufman film, also appreciated, not by everybody. It's more controversial there. I mean, some critics loved it, some critics thought it's what? There's one found an interesting description for it. Didactically depressing or something. It's gloomy, but didactically so something. Anyway, trying to return. So, Munir is infatuated with Muriel. I use the word infatuated because love is more complicated. There's a short story, Thomas Mann, which he says, through a character, Thomas Mann says something like, love means so much, we don't really find it except in extraordinary circumstances. We say, oh, I love this, I love you, I love you so much, there are no words. That's a problem raised in that narrative, Thomas Mann. But that's nonsense. The word love means much more than we feel. It's not the other way around. Our feeling is so mind-blowing, so much bigger than the universe that words are for. But Andre, aka outstanding Niels Aristotle, this is such an extraordinary artist. is not favorable to the union to begin with, and let's just say to end with. So il says just sûrement parce que vite elle fait un pic, tu vas l'épouser, tu vas donner tout. Just because of a blowjob, somebody's giving you a blowjob or blowjobs, you just go and marry something. Sexist, patronizing, and there's a bizarre, again, triangle. Ménage à trois, French expression, French mœurs. Even if this is Belgium, I think. I'm not sure they mention where they are. They are in the West, they are comfortable there. And we know about Morocco. Originally, Munir comes from Morocco. Indeed. André had helped him come to the West. Let me just say Belgium. I think this is a Belgian film with other contributions, financing, but for France it was nominated for the César for meilleur film étranger, so it's considered a non-French film. Now of course it could be a Belgian film with the action taking place in France, but never mind. So he had taken André had taken Munir, but also had married his sister. They don't live together. It's just for papers. When they do marry eventually, because Munir is infatuated, now love, to repeat that, is something else. So when they marry and they mention this arrangement, you didn't marry me for papers, right? It's autre chose. But they have a quarrel at the wedding party. They go a little to the side from the table, but they have a brother, and the brother is upset. So he took you in, and he married the. What about me? I'm the only one left. You know, people talk. There's a very, in Arabic, very heated exchange. So people talk. What do they talk? I'm the only one left out. But I was thinking, maybe they talk that this is. Did he mention something like in French? This French speaking. It could have been from Belgium and made in Flemish, but they speak French when they don't talk Arabic. Sometimes mother, son. And did he say patsy or something? Because there's this nebulous idea that why is he? Well, maybe there's a father love there, but. Why is he so protective, so possessive? Indeed, at one point, they have 3 children, and then they talk, and Muriel says maybe we should move to Morocco. People there, and we don't have enough place here. And they're étoufflés, they're smothered. She feels by this fact that they live in the house, in somebody else's house. And he says, yeah, well, that's right, you have a good idea. But André is not only against it, he's furiously opposed to the idea. He's infuriated. It's making a scene like a, a deceived lover. Okay, mais casse-toi, prends-le, je reste ici, mais comment? I don't know, words to that effect. He's so violent in his opposition that and he had some arguments that indeed eventually Munir abandons the project. claiming it's suicide. No, Morocco. What about the job? You know how they raise girls there and so on. But for quite some time, they all lived together in the house of Andre, who is a doctor, involved in some shady deals, including at one point because Muriel is more and more depressed, overwhelmed by this and that. One of the girls has an accident, falls down the stairs. They have to go to the doctor. She still has her job, but she keeps having children. What crossed my mind was something from a documentary I've seen with Queen Victoria, who was very mean to her children. Loved her husband. She would rather lose her children than her husband Albert. So she was. And at one point, sarcastically and viciously, she named one of her cows Princess. What was that? Princess Anne? I don't know. One of them. To spite and to emphasize the idea that like a cow, she keeps having children. And I was thinking of this. I mean, why do you keep having children? But she does, and it's too much, and then there will be a fourth. And then there are clashes, and he slaps the woman. Why did you sleep when the children poof? Abuse, therefore. Psychological, physical abuse. Muriel obviously not able to cope with it anymore. She's seeing a psychologist, and I was saying about Andre and his illegal potential. Don't mention to the psychologist that you're living with me, because for insurance, there's assurance and so on, it doesn't look good. And so you living with a doctor who is, so he's doing tricky things, and he is rich. They have a Range Rover, which is of course an expensive luxury SUV. Bă, pleacă-mă de acolo, mă. Bă, nu mai nebunii faci, mă. Bă, to emphasize the point with her, it's difficult to live with two of these parrots that you can shoot at any time. I mean, I'm just being facetious. Being with 4 children, I mean, and it's true. It's very complicated because she has her share of blame. I mean, she's an adult. She didn't marry as a child. She was very young, so that's potentially a evidence somehow in her favor. She didn't know what she was doing, and then she has to live with these 2 men. It's not her house. Munir quite often says, "Oh, mais c'est chez lui, mais what did he do?" Mais quoi? She has a very rude, offensive sister who's lurid in comments. I mean, mais quoi? Mais tu ne sais pas? Mais tu peux faire des choses. On one hand, so she's offensive. But on the other hand, she's pushing towards the truth. What's wrong with you? I mean, what's his thing? Andre, I mean. Why is he going with women or men for that matter? Is he into this strange does he get satisfaction from keeping Muriel on a sort of leash? But as I said, she's also, I mean, why do you have so many children and you don't cope with it? So that's one issue there. There's the question of having too many children. Right, some have 12. Well, that's too much also. But and by the way, I can say these things because we have this small audience and maybe nobody here with us anymore. So I can go and say for the end. And the end is, oh my God. I mean, putain, I say. Dégueulasse. Because she kills all her children. And that's the end. She calls the cops and says, I killed all my children. I wanted to commit suicide, but I couldn't.